Welcome back to Journey to Authenticity, a podcast helping you to become fully authentic. I'm your host, Braden Belknap. I'm a human just like you, striving to build my dream life, all while I stay truly authentic to myself. That is my main goal today. And for the rest of this journey, this podcast is to help you become truly authentic to yourself, all while you build your dream life. But what happens when we live with vessels in our life that is taking us away from our true potential? Women, men, sex, drugs. Maybe it's little things like being a jerk to people. That's exactly why we have Reynei Villarreal coming in today, as he was an immigrant coming over to the US and initially struggling, thinking about quitting, going into his vessels of drugs and women. Then he completely transformed his life with his creative ability with customizing shoes, where he created the company GMRT Customs. Now, not only has he been connected with God in a deep manner day to day, but he's transformed his routines. He's transformed his process. He's gotten around the right people, creating success for himself. And now he's here to create that success for you. Hey guys, I want to take a quick pause to introduce OpenSoul, the revolutionary app that takes communication to a whole new level. Forget the typing. Let's bring in real human connection through the power of voice. Whether you're seeking advice, sharing a personal triumph, or simply looking to connect with like-minded individuals, OpenSoul is a place to be. OpenSoul's question of the day today is, what's something good that happened with you today? Record your answer, then listen to others, and create a real connection through the power of voice. Download OpenSoul on the Apple App Store today with the link below to join the community and let your voice be heard. Reynei, welcome to the show, man.
Yo, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Doing so good. It's such a blessing to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, bro.
Absolutely. So shoes. What inspired you to start customizing shoes?
Oh, man. Right to the point. I like it. Actually, it was... I need to backtrack so it makes sense. I'm going to make it really short, but I started my brand in 2017. It was called Gym Rat, and it started as a fitness brand. I was designing apparel for fitness people. At the time, I was like huge into the gym and stuff like that. And the brand slowly evolved into streetwear, had retail stores. So when I was in my first retail store, I had a good buddy of mine. He had a store in Portland, and he was like, dude, like, I got some custom shoes. Can I send you some so you can sell them for me, and then we'll split the cost? I was like, sure. And I had some custom shoes in my first store in Valley Fair Mall, and it was a hit. People were buying them. But then I was already designing my own merch for my brand, and I was like, dude, I think I can do that better. And then I started designing shoes. The first shoe I designed it in the back of my store, which I have a tattoo of that shoe. I still have that shoe in my studio as display. And that's kind of how I started the journey, man. Just like taking the clothing, fashion aspect and bringing it into shoes. And that's what we've been focused on since, I don't know, full time, just exclusively doing shoes since 2021. But like I said, the brand started in 2017. So we just kind of pivoted.
Absolutely. Pivots are necessary in everything in life, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So first you started creating apparel. What inspired that creativity spark inside of you?
I would say I always like to look good. And it just became like a thing that, you know, let's make stuff that it's cool. But also the quality is cool. It's good. So it just kind of started like that. But it was not until I opened my first retail store in 2019 that I really got into like hands in depth on the design process. Because picture this, bro, like you're in a mall on a Tuesday, 1 p.m. Nobody's buying anything. You're literally having a $0 day. I'm designing 24/7, dude, because I'm working open to close Monday through Sunday. I have nothing else to do just to practice my craft. So I was just designing. I still have hundreds of designs that never got released. We're working on releasing some of those right now, but more custom. But it just became a passion of like making myself look good. And then whoever will like the design, they will buy it. If not, I was cool with it too, because there was another design coming. So that's kind of what it started, the passion behind the design process. At least for me, I was never really a artist type of guy. Like I will draw some stuff, but I wasn't really like into it. It just kind of, I developed that skill. And then I realized, I can milk this out. I can actually make a living out of this. And that's how I kind of tied everything together.
I love that. So what was life like before fashion?
I'm originally from Venezuela. I moved here when I was 18 years old. Didn't speak a word of English. So I realized that once I moved here to the United States, I was behind, very behind. Because first of all, I don't know the language. I don't know the culture. And everybody's 18 years ahead of me at least. Because I was like, I need to figure this out. So my first job, I was at Chuck E. Cheese. I didn't speak really good English, so they put me at the front, giving people stamp. It was called Kid Check. But I was hungry, you know. I was like, okay, this is my first job. I gotta be the best. So what happened after that, every job that I had, whether it was Chuck E. Cheese or washing dishes or in the kitchen, making, there was one time that I worked at a sushi place. I did a bunch of odd jobs. I wanted to be the best because I realized that I always knew I was meant for more, but I didn't know what that was for me at the time. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to figure that out eventually. And I'm glad that I went through it because it helped me be more, I appreciate everything. Like, dude, like literally I practice gratitude every day. Like I have my morning routines, like I'm meditation, reading my Bible, working out, walking my dog. There's a lot of things that I implement in my life, and that helps me stay grounded and be grateful for everything that I have. So a lot of people get to see all the cool stuff that we do, but that's not really who I am. That's just, you see what comes out of because you find alignment in your life. That's what it is. There's really nothing special about me. I hate when people say that. There's nothing special about me. There really isn't. I talk to my team about this all the time. My team, they're actually way more creative than I am. Way more. Like I bring people that are good at what they are good at, and I focus on what I'm good at. And I tell them all the time, like, the problem with a lot of artists is that they have this thing that they just focus on the art aspect. They can paint really good. They can do a cool mural and all that, but they don't focus on how to sell their art, how to develop themselves, how to become a business person. And that's why a lot of artists struggle. If they were focused more on the behind the scenes instead of what they're already good at, which is creating art, they will all be successful.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
You got to be an artist and study business, and be a businessman and study art.
Exactly. And one guy that helped me figure this out was Scott Travis. And I coached with him early in 2021. And he will tell you this, like, I'm more a business guy than an artist. And he quickly told me, like, dude, focus on the business side. You guys already know how to do the shoes. That skill will get better by time. But you need to become a business guy. And I really focus on that a lot. You know, I focus a lot on the networking that I do, the podcasting, my relationships. My business is based off relationships. Like, we don't run any ads. We don't do like email marketing or SMS. We should probably do that, but I'm enjoying the journey. You know, I'm doing it the way that alignment takes me. You know, I'm not out there trying to figure out what's the best Facebook ad to run this shoe. Like, we create, we put it out to the world, and if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, cool too. There's another shoe that we're doing. There's another mural that we'll be designing. So it works out, man, when you get that alignment in your life.
Absolutely. So coming to the US, was there any hardships at all?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, first of all, I will say the language, that's huge. The culture aspect as well, because, I'm coming from Venezuela. This is a good example. So, here you go to a restaurant or McDonald's, whatever that may be, and you get a free refill all the time. You're expecting a free refill. You'll drink your drink. Hey, do you want a refill? Back home, that's not even real. Like, you finish your Coke or whatever you're drinking, you have to pay for a new drink after you're done. Like, little things like that, or the fact that you can take your cell phone out, as nobody's gonna take it and rip it off your hand. That was another thing that I didn't grow up with. Like, it was like literally live or die. Like you have to figure it out. When you go outside, it's like you're hustling, like you're aware of your surroundings. Like you gotta be on top of your game or you're not gonna make it that far out there. So that was a big one for me. And also the opportunities that we have here. A lot of people take that for granted because you're born into this, so you're kind of already accustomed to it. To me, I realized that there's opportunities everywhere if you go get them. Back home, there wasn't really a whole lot. Like it was just mainly like building a business, probably not suitable for not many people. And especially on what I do right now, I think about that all the time. Like if I was back home, my business wouldn't be successful. Like thanks to the freedom that we have here, I get to do that and get paid and build a team and have employees and do all that stuff that we do. So there's been a lot of that, but at the same time, like all the hard things I'm grateful for because I use it as a competitive edge. I was like, okay, I don't know that. I'll figure it out, and eventually I'll get to know how to move through those things and make it. So I know that there's a lot, but I will say the language, the culture, and the opportunities that we have in here.
I love that. And so that was like external life, right? What about internally? Was there any?
Dude, yeah, man. Well, I can tell you in top of my head, like the first 2 to 3 years that I moved here, I will call my mom. Many of those times, like I will call home crying. I'm like, I want to go back. I don't think I can do this. But I'm so glad that she never let me. She was like, just stick it out. Maybe it will get better. Maybe, you'll get a better job. Because, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. When you're an immigrant, you're not getting the good jobs. You're getting the shitty jobs. You're getting the jobs that you have to take out the trash, do the dishes, be the waiter. There's nothing bad about that, but I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. But at the time, you're kind of thinking that because guess what? Everybody that has that job, most of them are Hispanic. I will hear stories like, yeah, I've been in this industry for 15 years. I will listen to them. I'm like, what? And I was like, there's gotta be a way out of this. There has to be, because I did not came to this country to do this. I might as well just go back and at least have a regular 9 to 5 in an office and go to the beach on the weekend. There was a lot of that, man. And I'm glad that my mom didn't let me quit, didn't let me go back, because I'm telling you, bro, the first 2-3 years, it was like every other month, bro, I would just get depressed. I'm very depressed because I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna make it here. It's tough, especially the culture thing, man. Like, it's funny because I couldn't date white girls because I don't speak good English, but I also didn't want to date the Hispanic ones because I'm like, I don't want that. So this is another competitive edge that I found. I was like, okay, if I want to date a white girl, I have to learn English. So I started surrounding myself with American people, like whether it was, at the gym or places that I will go, and they will help me get the accent better. And then I slowly started gaining some confidence. Oh man, like maybe I belong here. So, but yeah, the first 2-3 years were hard, but I will say after I got out of that, I was like, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to figure this out and just go chase my dreams.
I love that. So 2 parts on that. I have 2 more questions I have on that. One, did you immigrate with any friends or family?
No. So my dad was already living here. But no, it was just me. And my dad, he's the kind of guy that is like, dude, you got to figure it out. My dad is actually a very successful guy. He's already a millionaire. But he's been the guy that he's helped me a lot. But he's the guy that you have to figure it out. I helped you come here. Now it's up to you to figure out what you're going to do. So, and I'm also grateful for that. At the time when I was younger, I was like, dude, my dad's rude. Like, why aren't you helping me? But now I get it. I'm like, it made me who I am. That's why challenges come. Yeah, they still hurt. I'm like, man, I'm not like happy. Oh, there's another problem. But I'm like, okay, I'll figure it out. I've been through worse things. So, but yeah, it was just me myself. Yeah.
I love that. It's, again, we have a sense of respect for our parents after we've gone through it. And they're like, oh, that actually helped me.
Yeah.
I really didn't appreciate it at the time, but I do now.
Yeah.
So I love that. And second question is, you, through your process 2-3 years, you were thinking about quitting. Did you ever have that experience in business or anything else that you've done?
Yeah, actually, yes. Actually, thinking about quitting, leaving the country was actually, now that I think about it, it was easier, because then when I decided to start my own thing and, you know, be an entrepreneur or whatever at the time that meant for me, it's completely changed now, 7 years in the game. Yeah, bro, I kid you not, this is even harder. The first, I would say the first 4.5, 5 years, I thought about quitting every single day. That's not a joke. I truly mean it. Because here's the thing, man, this is what people don't tell you about being an entrepreneur. It's hard. It's gonna take so much time, longer than you can even comprehend. And then we live in a social media world that just shows you the good stuff. The Lamborghinis, the fun, the parties, the all the cool stuff, but they don't tell you what goes on behind the scenes. And you know, the last time I thought about quitting was September 2021. And I'll tell you why I thought, like, I remember the date. I'm already 5 years into my dream. I'm in debt. Don't have any money. Like, I don't know, probably have $40 in my bank account. On paper, things look good. I had a beautiful store in Station Park, one of the best malls here in Utah. Great location. I had over, 200 shoes in my retail store, my clothing, other partnerships, but I'm not making any money. I'm working every single day. The overhead was killing me. I'm stressed, overweight, depressed. I live in a shitty apartment downtown Salt Lake. Nothing's going my way, bro. Like, and I'm already 5 years in. Everybody around me was like, all right, dude, it's time to get serious. Like, you can't keep playing this game. And, I thought, yeah, you're right. And I'm making my exit strategy. And, man, it gives me the chills because it was a very small decision. If I would have taken that, I'm not here right now. But it was very subtle, like very tiny. I called my dad. I'm like, hey, man, he was back home at the time in Venezuela. My grandpa has passed away. And so he's going through some stuff down there. And I'm calling my dad crying. I'm like, dude, like, I can't keep doing this. You're right. I'm not meant for this. And my dad, a loving father, he tells me, yeah, man, like, I'll help you out. Like, you should go into construction. Those people make a lot of money. You find good deals. I'll help you find some connections that you can start working, do an apprenticeship, and then you can do it on your own. I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, I'm not making any money, so a paycheck just sounds good that I don't have to worry about anything. And I'm making this exit strategy. I'm talking to the mall like, hey, I need to leave my lease. And at the same time, none of my employees know about this. I got a couple employees. I got some team members. Nobody knows. To the world, everything's good. But deep inside, I'm ready to cut that cord quick. I'm bleeding money every single day. Like, I'm stressed. Like, nothing pretty about this journey. And funny enough, I call this shoe the shoe that changed everything. We do a shoe at my good friends, Alex, commissioned a shoe for Sean Whalen. And that was going to be the last shoe. Kid you not. Last shoe. I meet with my right hand, Ozzy, and I tell him, hey, bro, he still doesn't know this. Hey, bro, we got this shoe for this guy. We meet in this coffee shop behind my apartment in downtown Salt Lake. We're meeting at nights right after I close the store. So we're meeting probably around 9 p.m. So I meet with him. Hey, it's an Air Force One mid. Sorry. No, I take it back. It wasn't for Sean Whalen, but it was for Alex Urban. And then we did one for Sean Whalen, but now I remember because the shoe. So we do this Air Force Black, and it was just for this guy, for Alex Urban. Now he's one of my best friends, which is crazy. But he doesn't know, my employee doesn't know that that's the last shoe. And then we're talking about the design, and I'm making sure, hey dude, make sure we do it right. We're talking about like how the layout's gonna be, some tags that we were gonna do. Like we put a lot of thought process into this, because to me it was, dude, it's the last shoe, bro. I'm closing everything. I'm gonna go do construction. We do the shoe. I give it to that Alex. And we had lunch, gave him the shoe, and he kind of helped me out a little bit. And he tells me at the end of lunch, he's like, hey, bro, I'm going to do a video and put it out for you on my Instagram. I was like, cool. I was like, don't matter to me, you know, like I'm quitting. He literally does a video that same day at night he posted. I'm like, damn, that was quick. Bam, I get a sell out of that. I'm like, what? Somebody's buying a shoe? The guy that bought this shoe, he's actually a good friend of mine, a good mentor. His name is Ryan Flint. He bought a shoe. I never forget the shoe. It was an Air Force One white. At the time, we're not really working with Jordans. My budget's not that much because I'm buying the shoe out of my pocket first, and then I was getting the money. I'm still don't understand this business yet. He bought an Air Force, and we did Louis Vuitton. And I remember I charged him $215, including the shoe. We do the shoe. The guy loves the shoe. He comes back for another shoe. And keep in mind, this is happening in a span of a month and a half. So my wheels start turning. I'm like, man, this could be something. And then I tell my dad, hey, I'm going to hold on right here for a second. I need a couple more months because I think I'm up to something. And then, dude, that Ryan Flynn opened another door with another guy. His name is Andrew Cordell, and that guy really bam, we hit it because he started commissioning a lot of shoes. I'm not making still a lot of money on that, but we're getting shoes out. We're getting our word out. We can do content. We can do all that stuff. And I choose, you know what? I'm gonna go all in on shoes. Scott Travis helped me. He's like, dude, you need to close the store. You're killing yourself here, man. The money, the success, whatever you're trying to chase is going to be on the shoes. So I decided to just go all in on shoes from September. I stayed in my store from September till March 2022. And I really wanted to keep staying on the store so I could do the shoes in the store, but we were going to work by appointment only. They told me no. But it was a blessing because we're now in a spot in Draper. But the funny thing was that we moved into the new spot in April 2022, and I sit in there. I'm like, wow, okay. Now what do? I gotta sell a lot of shoes now to pay the rent because I don't have a retail store now open. At least when you have a retail store, you have money coming in, people walking by, buying whatever. Now I'm literally by appointment only, relying on social media. So I have 30 days to figure it out because I still don't have a lot of money, bro. Like I went more into debt to go into this path. I closed the store. I still have over $30,000 worth of inventory in my spare room because it was a quick decision. I gotta go. There's no time to be thinking about this. I put a deposit in the place where we are, pay the first month, and I don't have $0. I only had enough to buy some food at Walmart, and that was it. And I sit in that place, and I never forget. I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm here. I got to figure it out. 30 days. Let's go. And this is where I want to tie this together. The importance of relationships. I knew something. I have good relationships around me. if I can rely on that and provide value to these individuals, I'll be able to figure this out. And the rest been store. It's been beautiful. I can't complain.
That's amazing. So you're a Christian.
Yeah.
And you're very connected to Jesus and God.
Yeah, brand new Christian, by the way.
Okay. So do you tie any of your success? You weren't Christian back then through these hardships. Is that fair to say?
I believed in God, but no, I was not Christian.
Do you tie any of that success today to God?
100%. And I'm going to go a little bit in depth with that, because God has a funny way of like getting close to you. And I can tell you mine was definitely funny. So, you know, I'm living for the world, bro. I'm dating multiple girls. Like, I'm just having a lot of fun. And my personal life was a mess. And then how could I be a top performing guy in my business if my personal life was a mess? In November 2022, somebody commissioned 2 shoes. Her name is Tony. And she's like, hey, I got some of my pastors are coming into town. We're having this big event. I want to commission 2 shoes. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm not thinking about no pastors or nothing. I'm like, yeah, just pay for the shoes. We'll design them. Cool. Pays for the shoes. We do the shoes. And I call her, hey, Tony, the shoes are ready. She's like, hey, yeah, do you want to come to the event and present the shoes? I was like, yeah, cool. I do that all the time. It was just whatever to me. I don't know where I'm going. I show up. Dude, this is a freaking church. But this is what got me. They were successful individuals. They were happy, successful. And there was just something in the air. I'm like, dude, I don't have any of this. I was already achieving some level of success, but I was still empty. You know, it didn't matter what I was doing. I was still empty. I keep coming back, going to church, blah, blah, blah. But what happened was, this is where the shift happened. In January, last year, 2023, I joined this program at the church. It's called Awaken You. And it's a year program, Bible study, leadership, and they have all these rules that you got to follow. No drugs, no sex outside of marriage, tithing, all this stuff. And it goes back to like having good friends around you. Scott Travis, he joined another program in the church too. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do the program that he signed up for, because same thing. They're like, no sex, no drugs, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I'm doing everything of that. Like, I'm not doing that. However, when you have your homies leveling up and doing things, guess what? If you're not stepping it up, you feel like you're behind. So I was like, okay, what do I join? So that was the only thing left. But they still have the same rules. So I send the application. I'm like, but I was honest on everything. I'm like, dude, I'm still living for the world. Like, I'm doing everything you're telling me not to do. The pastor calls me. He's like, hey, I think you should do it. I'm like, dude, I don't know about that. You know, like, I'm still doing that and this. And he's like, no, dude, you should do it. I believe in you. And I'll do it. And bro, that last year was my best year ever. I literally finished the year with the most money I've ever made. Like, and it didn't start like that, because you know how it is when you're building a business. It takes money to build a business. It takes money to grow. It takes money to hire people, to run content, to buy the shoes, the merchandise, the expenses just to keep the machine running. And I remember sitting in the bank in December and looking at my bank account, like, dude, I've never made this much money ever in my life. And God reminded me, first of all, that it was all him. He literally worked all that out. But second of all, is like, there's more work to do. So I achieved everything that I've done thanks to him. And he was always trying to find me. I just wouldn't listen to him. I had too much noise going on. But the moment I clear all that noise, I was able to hear him. And now this year, I graduated that program, and now I'm actually serving as a leader in that program. And it's very fulfilling to me because, believe it or not, bro, I spend a lot of time at church. And when people say church, they think it's like, this boring thing, like sit down, get up, do this and all. No, it's fun. It's like what I have with God is that relationship. I go to church just to worship, hang out with my friends and all of that. But the real growth happens in the back end, behind the scenes. So I'm excited, man, because I'm excited about God because I know what he's done in my life. Now I want to pour that into others that might not know about God and Jesus. And here's another thing too. That change impacted everybody around me, my employees, my friends. I have a men's group that is Christian based, and we meet the last Thursday of the month, and it was a God thing. He was actually the one that told me to do it, and I did it, just following him what he was telling me to do. And I seen men change their life because of that. I started going to church. They're breaking addictions for pornography, lust. There's a lot of breakthroughs in that group, and that fulfills me now. The shoes, all of that, it's cool. It's the work part. What fulfills me now is the work inside. And now that I figured this out on my end, I'm excited to show it to other guys.
That's beautiful. And the church that you went to, I've gone to Awaken.
Oh, you have?
And it is fun. It's a party.
We party.
But like you said, the thing that I really want to capitalize on what you said there is that you have a relationship with God and you go to church.
Yeah.
It's more oftentimes than not that nowadays people go to church and don't have a relationship with God.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting, bro? As you get on that here's the thing, I'm not perfect. Every day I'm struggling with things, but when I sin, I was sinning even worse before. Now I'm more aware of the little things. I'm like, man, that's not good. God he's a loving father. You have to go talk to him. You gotta get in his presence. And it doesn't mean that life is always perfect. Like, no, that's never. However, through his word, through his presence, you find peace. And that peace helps you create the best version of you, helps you align better with life. One thing for me that's huge is my routines. And my routine starts with God and then everything else. I always put him first. Everything in my business, my men's group, my podcast, it's all God. He's involved on every single thing that I do. And I want to, right now, I'm single. And before I used to, just date around. Now I practice celibacy. I don't watch porn. I don't do all that lust stuff because guess what?
Through your process 2-3 years, you were thinking about quitting. Did you ever have that experience in business or anything else that you've done?
Yeah, actually, yes. Actually, thinking about quitting, leaving the country was actually, now that I think about it, it was easier. Because then when I decided to start my own thing and, be an entrepreneur or whatever at the time that meant for me, it's completely changed now, 7 years in the game. I've done everything else that the world told me to do. And I was empty inside. When you get in the presence of God, everything changes. And I've realized this is way bigger than me. I can see it with my employees. I can see it with my friends. I can see it with everybody that I get in contact with. And I don't want to let God down. And I still do sometimes let him down on certain things. But I'm aware, I ask for forgiveness. Hey, Father, man, today was a hard day. I shouldn't have had that conversation that way, or I should have done this or that. And guess what? That's what it is. That's what our relationship's all about. You're never going to get it all perfect. But as long as you realize that, hey, I'm trying my best, you're going to be okay.
I love that. So I gotta ask you a question. So, and this is, I'm an imperfect person as well. Some people online see different, but we're just human as well, right? I would say I've done so I changed my life back when I was 15. So I started doing drugs the moment that I got into middle school, 7th grade.
Wow.
Started after a couple of years, started to sell drugs here and there, and got involved with the wrong friend group, right? And then there was a moment that I started to feel like I'm more than that, because I started to see friends commit suicide or just die or get locked up with juvie or prison. And I saw where I was projected. I was like, I'm more than that. And this is obviously a long story short. I kept doing the things though. Kept doing the drugs, kept doing everything that was cool, to be accepted, to be loved, to be accepted by the friend groups. And I mean, I would go to my grandparents' house, my parents, friends, and I had the name Braden Belknap, but I was always somebody different. It killed me inside. I was depressed. I was anxious. Don't like to admit it, but I cried more in the shower than I like to admit, or going to bed. And then there was a moment that I was like, I'm more than this. Fast forward about 6 months-ish later, super high, super drunk, and in the back of my head I hear, go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, shut the door. I didn't have to go to the bathroom, and a light came over to me. I'm immediately sober. Hear the words. A light comes over me, and I hear the words, you will transform and make an impact, or you'll die before you graduate high school.
Wow.
That moment, I walked to the mirror and I looked myself dead in the eyes. And that's the first time I saw myself in a very long time. Past all the bull crap, things that people told me I was or was not, or who I was or who I was not. The things that I told myself. And I walked out, and I still, showed up same way each day, thinking about death. My emotions are now enhanced because I know it can be more, but I'm not being more. And the last day of 9th grade, I walked out because I had the feeling that same voice came to me and said, this is your last day to change. I was very confident that if I did not change this year, if I walk into high school the same way, I will be the same way forever. I deleted all social medias, deleted everybody from my phone. And that's the first summer I picked up my book, started watching videos, going to conferences, got into sales at 16, transformed my life.
Wow.
But this is where my question is with that. I still sin. So I still drink. So my question is based on a Christian, is drinking considered a drug? No,
actually, I'll go back on the rules that they have for the program. They say alcohol in a moderate way. So, I've hung out with some of the people at church, and they'll drink. Obviously, they don't get lit. They don't get effed up. But no, they don't consider a drug. They consider drugs like weed, mushrooms. And here's the thing, dude. I was still doing that when I was fairly new Christian. I struggle with that, mainly the weed. I struggle with that a lot because you know how it is. You're like, no, I need the weed for creativity purposes, and just honestly, bro, like the best creativity is God, dude. Like literally, you get locked in, you get clean, you get all that mess clean, dude. The ideas that you get, it's like, a lot of things that people see on the business, it's just God tells me, hey, do that. I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it.
So do you still smoke weed to this day?
No, I don't. I stopped. I think I stopped I wasn't smoking. I stopped smoking, but then I was doing edibles, and I stopped doing edibles. I think it was September last year. That was one of the last vices that I let go. I never had a drinking problem. I really don't like drinking. If I drink, it's probably wine. Stella Rosa Black. That's my favorite. Honestly, my biggest struggle was lust. I love women a lot, and I did not hide it. I was like, you start tasting a little bit of success, wearing the nice clothes, the nice shoes, driving a nice car. Guess what? It's not that hard to find women from the world. But this is where, getting that alignment with God, what I realized is when I was bringing those type of people in my life, then my business will go down. I wasn't performing at the best. So that's why right now, this year for me, I started celibacy last year, but this year is more ingrained on me. I'm not having sex until I get married. That's it. Like, it's not like if, no, like I'm not doing it, and I'm waiting now for the one. Like, I'm not on dating apps. I don't go out like, oh, I need to go find that chick. No, I'm just kind of let it, hey, God, do your thing, man. You've helped me through a lot of things, especially my business. I know you come through on this, and don't get me wrong, it's hard. It's one of the hardest things. Building a business is easy. Staying faithful to that, it is hard, very hard. But, I seen the growth too, because I'm using now all that energy and I just put it into the business, and I just slowly start like elevating and elevating and elevating. So it's a win for me. That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely. So is Raynei ready for a wife?
Yeah, I am. Obviously, God is still working on a lot of things on me, but I don't have no side chicks, I'm working on myself, and I'm putting God first. I want a woman that puts God first. I don't want to be her first. God first, then me, and then whatever else you want to do. But, I'm waiting, I'm on that waiting game. And funny enough, a lot of the people that I bring in my podcast too, I talk to them about if I know they have a healthy relationship, I ask them a question, because one of the things that I think about, like, I have it good right now, bro. Like, I don't have a wife. I got no kids, no responsibility. My only baby is my business. That's it. I can literally do whatever I want business wise. And it's just kind of like, how would I phrase when I bring that woman into my world? I want her to know that this is my life too. My business is me. I want her to be involved however she feels like she could fit in that world. But I have like this Kobe Bryant mentality. Like I want to be all in on my business. I still want to be all in with you, but you got to realize that there's going to be some sacrifices. And I never was clear with the other woman that I dated. Here's the thing. I was not perfect when I was dating those women. I was making a lot of mistakes. They were making mistakes too. But I never was honest with them how hard this game is. I would just be like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. Or, I'm busy. I wouldn't explain the things. Hey, why do I have to do this? What's my reason behind it? The employees, the overhead that it takes. Like, so when I bring that woman into my life, I want them to understand, like, hey, this is a long game that I'm playing. I want to have a good life, and I want to provide a good life for you, but it's going to take a lot of work. So I'm working through that. I have good friends and coaches around me that I ask those questions. So when the situation does come up, I have some sort of like blueprint to follow.
Absolutely. I love that. So I want to go back to when you pivoted from thinking about quitting to not quitting. Did you see entrepreneurship as your way out of the kitchen jobs, the taking out the trash, etc.?
Yeah, man. Actually, yes, I did see it. Like, I thought I was going to be balling out within a year or two, driving the Lambo and, spending all that money. But I saw it as a way out. Like, I definitely did. But here's the thing. I didn't imagine it to be this hard, because like I said, you see social media and they make it seem so easy, so cool. Like, oh yeah, I got this business. Once I got in, I'm like, dude, this is hard. But I definitely saw it as a way out. I just did not see all the things that I had to learn to be decently good at it. because, like, as you know, you never really get to that destination. There's always more that you need, more the mountains that you got to climb. So as of now, where I am, life has humbled me a lot. So I just make sure that I surround myself with people that are smarter than me. I don't like to be the smartest guy in the room. If I have to, I'll give people some game. But most of the time, I surround myself with people that are smarter than me, because by nature, you just get better. And with that being said, you can actually take that and implement it and help other people as well. So, but being an entrepreneur, I will encourage whoever is listening to this and it's just starting out, or you're, in the middle of your journey, look at it this way. And Andy Frisella talked about this like on his podcast years ago. I don't know, 6-7 years. Look at it like a pyramid, and you start at the bottom of the pyramid. The first pyramid is the first step of the pyramid. It's longer, bigger. That's the first 1 to 3 years. There's a lot of people. Then you step into the second step, smaller. That's the year, 4 to 6. There's less people. People fall off. Then 3. Then that's the 10 to 15 year room. Then you get to the top of the pyramid. Then you got the 20 to 30 year room. So that's the way you got to look at it. Like, look at it from an angle that you just try to be in the game on year 1. You're trying to be in the game by the end of year 3. Yesterday I was thinking, because it's going to be my 7th year anniversary next Wednesday doing this thing. And I was thinking, man, 7 years, that's a long time. But now I'm thinking, dude, I can't wait to see how this is all going to look like in year 10. Because I can compare year 1, year 2. Every year is different. It's like a season, like NBA players. You have different seasons. As you start as a rookie, you're probably not really good unless you're LeBron or Kobe or MJ. But as you get more in the game, you start getting better. You maybe now you can block more, you make more points and all that. So, that's how I look at this journey.
I love that. So with that, what are all the aspects that you've encompassed into your journey on how you've overcome those hardships to now be winning in life?
That's a good, bro. I will say routines. Routines are very important. Here's the thing. If you can realize that this is going to be very hard, very lonely, and I'm just being straight up honest, because I like honesty. I wish somebody would have told me this right away. Hard, lonely, you're going to win, but you're also going to lose a lot. This is not meant for everybody. So I quickly realized that, okay, if I want to make it, I got to have a real strong mindset. I got to have routines in place. The first 4 to 5 years, I didn't have them. That's why I was thinking about quitting all the time. Guess what? My life is a mess. I'm doing all this stuff that's not serving me any purpose. Now, my days are planned. I know I got a morning routine. I know I got to read. I know I got to meditate, get them on the Word of God. I set routines in place to make me successful. And that's how I'm able to get ahead. Business is hard. So imagine if you don't have a routine, a healthy routine with healthy habits, you go into the office and your employee tells you, hey, this went wrong, or you get an email or a phone call that it's bad news. Guess what? You're going to be pissed. You're going to be thinking, oh man, I want to quit. This is so hard. Guess what? That still happens to me, but I'm cool. Okay, well, all right. I'll meditate on that, see how I can come up with a solution, and then I'll get back to you. Cool. Move on. Next. And now I have systems in place, and they're very simple. My morning routines, the time I show up to work, how I communicate with my team, the time that I'm spending too with God is huge. Like, not just with him, and then I go serve too. I serve a lot at my church. And a lot of, that to me is fulfilling, because you're not making any money out of it. You're just helping people and just spreading his message. And another thing too that I would encourage people to figure out very quick, it's how you're managing your personal life. This is huge. I used to separate my business life and my personal life. In my business, on paper, yeah, I was doing pretty much everything good. But guess what? My personal life was a mess. That's why you have to realize you're the same person. Your business is you. If your personal life is a mess, guess what? Your business is going to be a mess. So once I realized that, dude, it was a game changer for me. We started growing. We started elevating. So that's why I treat my personal life very important. I say no to a lot of things. But if I give you a yes, it's because I'll be there. I'll show up. But I don't give people a lot of yeses because I know what it requires for me to operate at this frequency, to have my cup filled. It takes a lot of work that not a lot of people are willing to do. And I'm just being 100% honest because I've hung out with a lot of successful people. And the biggest mind trip for me was to realize that they're just like me and you right here. But guess what? They have routines in place. They say no to a lot of things. So I figure out my little recipe of success, which I just kind of explained it here a little bit. And I just do that every single day. Not every day. I'm not trying to make $1 million today. I'm just trying to have that conversation that could make me $1 million by next year. And that's literally what I do with a lot of the corporations that I work with. Dude, I spend months talking to these people without making $0. We're going back and forth on designs, ideas, vision, how to incentivize their team. It will probably sometimes, this last client took me almost 2 months to lock them in. They're locked in. Guess what? Now this week, I'm working now with another corporate client. Zero advertising too. This is people just hitting me up. I'm not chasing them. They come to me. It's that alignment that you need to find. And that's what a lot of people miss. If you can really get aligned, and only you know what that is to you or the listener, if you can find what that alignment is going to be for you, man, it literally, this game becomes like a cheat code. You just slowly start elevating, and then you're like, man, I've gone pretty far.
So what I'm hearing from you, just to kind of wrap that up, is one, routines.
Routines, yep.
Having a routine in your morning, and I assume before you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and I will say, and I want you to keep going, but I want to let people know in my night routine, there's TikTok on that, man. I like to be on TikTok. I like to keep up with trends. Like, don't think it's everything like, oh, I gotta do all this hard stuff. No, dude, I BS too a lot because it fills me up too. So. Yeah, go ahead.
Have fun with it.
Of course.
Or it's just work.
Yeah.
It's boring. Yeah. You don't want to do it.
Dude, I've been seeing some TikToks. I'm like, they're so funny, dude. And I'm just be reposting them because I don't know. Like, it's just, I know it works out for me. I limit my time on it. But when I'm on it, I'm like, okay, this is my TikTok time. And I'll just be scrolling and just finding random videos.
Absolutely. My mom will just send us kids, I have 3 siblings, funny videos.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Dude, send me some of those, bro.
Absolutely. They're practically just mom or dad jokes. But
yeah, I like those.
Just kidding. But yeah, have fun with it. I mean, today, one of my morning routines is cold shower every day, every morning without fail, 3 to 6 minutes. That's hard. Today, I was not feeling it. I turned on some dance music and danced my entire way through it. You got to have some fun. But so AM, PM routines.
Yeah.
Second thing I heard is stop chasing balance. Stop chasing, this is my personal life, this is business. Mix it together. Be the best version of you. Show up the same version, your authentic self, in your personal life and your business.
Yeah.
It's a part of you. Mm-hmm. Don't separate it or you're going to feel separated and stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then third is incorporate God into your daily life.
Yeah.
That's what I heard from you.
Yeah.
Would you add any other principles to why you've reached this pinnacle of success?
Man, just realizing too that, a couple of things. Yeah, I will say, you're going to make the mistakes. I'm still making mistakes all the time. Like, but I have good people around me to keep me on check, which I love that. Also, another thing, you won't get too far by yourself, which I would have known that earlier in the game. You have to, Ed Milet talks about this, you have to make your dreams so big that other people's dreams fit in it. And that's what I do. You know, I started really growing when I made sure that I was aware of what my team members' dreams were. You know, it's not about me. You know, I actually give them now a lot of the spotlight for the company. They're most of our videos, they do all this stuff. As a matter of fact, they're doing a Instagram live right now as I'm shooting this podcast. I'm not involved in it. I just kind of let them because they're building it with me. You know, I don't wanna just be the face. You know, I let them do what they're good. I'll jump in there, coach them a little bit. And lastly, man, make sure you surround yourself with the right people. That's huge, man. Like I my first few years of it, I actually didn't know a lot of successful people too. So it was hard, but it was too because my mindset wasn't there. I look around my life, I only hang out with winners. If you're not winning, I'm not hanging out with you. Not because I don't want to. We're not on the same frequency. So you're not gonna be here where I'm the frequency that I am. And if you are, it's gonna scare you away. And it's, you know, it's a curse and a blessing. You know, like after this podcast, I got an event and most of those guys are multimillionaires, but we're not even talking about business. We're hanging out, just guys talking about mindset and a bunch of other stuff. And sometimes I think about that. I'm like, dude, well, how is that possible? How am I in these rooms? It's because I had to raise up my frequency. So if people do a lot of the stuff that I talk about, the behind the scenes, if you do that by nature, you will just elevate. Like there's no doubt. I seen it with my employees. I seen it with people around me. A lot of the clients that I work with. So it's like literally success, and I talk about this a lot. It is a recipe. I just gave you my recipe, but this recipe took years to figure out. It doesn't mean that it's gonna work out for you if you apply it 100%, but it will most likely, most of it will work. You only have to tweak about 20% of it. My recipe is not the same as some of my clients, but guess what? Most of it is the same. I just tweak it here to what fits for me, and it works.
100%, because your recipe is a recipe for success for a lot of successful entrepreneurs or athletes or authors or whoever they are out there.
Yeah.
And this is what I'll point out. You spoke to routines. You didn't tell them what they needed to do.
Yeah.
But if they have a routine, they will win.
Yeah.
That routine is up to them to figure out. They can certainly learn from your routine or my wife's routine or Sean Whalen's routine, Jordan Peterson's routine. They need to find their own.
Yeah.
At the moment they find their own and they up-level their life, naturally they're most likely going to become more aligned with God as well.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Because just like me and you, on this frequency of I'm trying to become the best version, not trying, I am becoming the best version of myself. I am accomplishing the utmost success in business and life and with my relationships. God wants to hang out with that frequency too. Mm-hmm. So if you're over here complaining, bitching, complaining, oh, my life sucks. This is so hard. I want to quit. God doesn't want to hang out with that. Mm-hmm. He wants to hang out with the, man, it's cold today, but God created the cold, so I'm going to live in this. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's a beautiful day outside. I'm going to go become the best version of myself, and I'm going to go create a life that I'm proud to wake up to.
Yeah.
That's what God wants.
Dude, and you said something really good that I want to emphasize. God wants you to be successful. Like he does. God created us to be successful. You know, a lot of times, you know, religion, we talk about a lot at church, the spirit of religion. They make you think, oh, you got to be humble. be broke and poor and sad and miserable to be with God, to be in the, no, go read the Bible. God, he gifted, like he was helping a lot of successful people, but they were doing his work. They were, I'm still new to the Bible, but a lot of the successful individuals in the Bible that did it the right way is because they put God first. And by nature, like, picture this, you can bring people to God if you're struggling. Like, it just doesn't make sense. That's why I started going to church. I'm like, oh, you're telling me if I do this, it's going to work. And guess what? I looked at their life. I'm like, yeah, you're running a multi-million-dollar business. You have a happy family. Yeah, I need to drink what you're drinking. And it just works.
Absolutely. Hey, Meg, will you look this book up? Because I want to make a recommendation on this podcast.
Please.
I think it's called Business from the Bible.
Oh, dude. I'm actually reading that right now.
Are you serious?
Business Principles from the Bible?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I read that 5 years ago and it changed everything.
The lady that took me to church, she put it on her story and I was like, I need to read that. I'm doing it on an audiobook right now. That's funny that you're telling me that. I still got like 2 hours left.
It's an amazing.
It's amazing.
Book. So we'll drop the link to that book below for you guys to get a snack.
Dude, that's good.
I could talk to you for hours, man.
Me too. I could talk to you for hours, bro. You ask good questions, man. Like, there's some stuff in there that I actually never shared, which is good. You know, like, hopefully whoever listens to this, like, applies it a little bit, you know?
I appreciate that. I got a lot from this podcast. It truly was a blessing to have you. And ultimately, if there was one more piece of advice that you could share, what would that be?
Man, it will be just be you, man. You know, if you're listening to this, you can't see it, but if you watch it, I literally pull up here with sunglasses inside. You know, I got a bunch of jewelry, crazy shoes. God designed me this way. Like, I don't have to change. I show up, like, this guy that you see is the same guy that you see at church. He's the same guy that you see talking to my employees. He's the same guy when I'm walking my dog. Probably I'm not wearing the glasses, but everything else, yes, is the same guy. Like, I don't change because the rooms that I'm in. And it has been one of my biggest key for success. I step on masterminds or individuals that I know they're high level. And I'm still the same guy. I'll still ask for help. So I would encourage anybody, just keep being you. Keep being you. Don't think that, you know, the thing that you like that makes you should hide it. Because then you're gonna hate the journey. You'll be like, man, this journey has changed me. As a matter of fact, the moment I realized that, dude, I'm just gonna be me, I was more happier, less stressed, less anxious. So I would encourage people just to keep being themselves. And I know we said this already, but get in a relationship with God, like truly. With Jesus, and whatever religion you're in, just find that relationship. You don't have to really go to church to build that relationship with God. Like, you can literally build a relationship with him right now. Pause this podcast, go talk to him, get the downloads. Because I talked to a lot of friends at church, and before I used to listen to like a lot of audiobooks and all these big entrepreneurs. Man, I need the next breakthrough, the next piece of information. Last year was the year that I did the least personal development, but it was the year that I grew the most. And it was because I was getting actually my personal development through God, through the downloads. And I would encourage people just to do that. If you do some of that stuff, man, within a year, you're having a different conversation.
Absolutely. I love that. The last question to wrap it all up, the question I ask every guest is, what is your definition of an authentic life?
Oof. Authentic life, man. That's good. I like that. Man, authentic life is, to me, will be, looking yourself in the mirror and realizing that, hey, I'm not perfect. I made mistakes, but I'm trying. I'm trying to become that best version of ourselves, because we will never be perfect. And if you can look at all the things that you have in your life, whatever circumstances you're in, and just be grateful, like truly grateful. Like, dude, like, I'm grateful every day that I get to walk my dog. And it's kind of sad because I think about this all the time, but I think about it, I'm not going to get to do that for a long time. Like, what I mean by that is, like, he's going to die eventually. Like, I know it sounds hard, but I think about that. So the moment that I'm walking him, I'm grateful. I'm like, I love you, bro. Like, if he makes a mess, yeah, I'll get a little mad. But I was like, he's not going to be here forever. So keep making a mess, I guess. And those little things, man, it's, to me, is being authentic. Because it's not what I've accomplished, is who I am on the deep inside. So
I love that, man. Thanks for sharing that. And
Thank you.
Love that you share that. Kids, dogs, whatever it is, spouse, partner.
Yeah.
Like, be grateful even for the messes.
Do you have any kids?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Maybe in a couple of years.
But I'm sure you feel about that about your dog.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like how much you love your dog. Like, it's like they become like a little human.
Honestly, the personality, I'm like, if you were a kid, you'd be a badass.
Dude, my dog, sometimes I'll be like, dude, like, you live a good life, bro. Like, so, but it's one of those things, man, that makes me happy, like, just giving him a good life. I know it's a dog. Some people have kids and they're like, probably saying like, dude, you can't compare a dog to a kid, but hey, that's all I have right now. So I can compare to that.
Honestly, anybody that says that, I'd venture two things. Either one, they haven't had a dog, or two, they're just not an animal person.
That's good.
You can't tell me my dog's not my kid. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go buy him clothes. I'm gonna go buy him toys. I'm gonna go buy him treats.
Yeah.
Just like I would we'll go to In-N-Out. Every time we go to In-N-Out, my dog's getting a pup patty.
Let's
100%
go.
of the time.
Dude, what is that?
They put no salt on it, nothing, and they just do a patty.
Man, you're about to add more to his food budget then, because I didn't know they had that.
Yeah, straight up, they'll make a patty specifically for your dog.
Okay. Well, thank you for that game.
So my dog is my kid, man. I love that dog. And I wouldn't have that dog if it wasn't for my wife, so I'll take it.
Wow. So good. So good, man.
Thank you again for listening to the Journey Authenticity podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please go ahead and subscribe and leave a review, as that truly helps me to be able to get more interesting guests, creating more interesting content as well as valuable content to you. Also, I want to let you all know, I just relaunched and repivoted my coaching brand. A part of that is I'm taking my speaking and my message to your guys' audiences. With that in mind, if you have 5+ employees, if you have an event going on, and you want a message that doesn't just inspire, but moves your audience to action, go ahead and go to bradenbelknap.com or the link below and hire me to come speak at your next event. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Bye-bye.